us an example. When you claim that we are a product of chaos, we are a product of an accident, we are a product of cosmic explosions, let's say, right? Because we start with the universe, we come down to the solar system, and then we come down to planet Earth, right?
I'm not sure. That's not really. I'm not sure, but what I do know is that God, there is divinity in beauty, and we can create beauty. We are capable of creating divinity
through our cognition. Would you agree?
Through the beauty of ideas, of art,
brilliant. So we have intelligence.
We have great intelligence.
Right. So can our intelligence, can our human intelligence that creates such beautiful things? For example, we have amazing pieces of art around the world. We have calligraphy. We have artists going back. I mean, we have sculptors, people who created sculptures, who were carving these beautiful statues and all those things. Yeah, all of this comes from human intelligence and human ability to do so, right?
Yes.
But my question is now, can human beings be a product of a blind, unintelligent, unplanned process? To be able to do all this, because human beings are very intelligent agents. We are very intelligent. We have cognition. We have a very high level of wisdom, let's say, right?
Yes.
Can human beings be born, or can human beings be a product of a blind, unintelligent process? Can non-intelligence produce this level of intelligence?
I'm not sure. But what I do...
So we leave it there.
But what I do know, and I'll say this,
Yeah.
is that the greatest journey you can go on is in your own mind. There is an almost infinite number of ideas and concepts you can build and explore. I think God has come from the human mind. We have not come from God's mind.
Right.
And I think that the beauty, the structure, the order you see around you is also a product of human cognition. And I actually think religion, because the human mind, you can wander through the beauty of your mind, the landscape of your mind. And I think religion actually creates a cage around your mind. It prevents you from exploring all of the realms, all of the possibilities.
Okay, let me address.
I suppose that's why I'm also.
We have company. This woman is following me around.
And she likes you.
Maybe she likes me, but I don't like her.
No, that's a rather interesting.
I don't like her.
strategy
I don't like her.
No,
because
no.
she's not. If she likes me and she thinks I'm going to be attracted to her like this, she must be smoking something.
She needs to change her strategy.
So anyway. So coming back to your points, this cognition you mentioned and the ability to produce such beautiful pieces of art.
Yes.
Okay, around the world. You're saying this is our own creation in the mind. This is our perception. It's not real. Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying that God is our own.
Forget God for a second. Forget God for a second.
Yes.
I'm saying this beauty that we appreciate and we all call beauty.
Yes.
Right? When you look at a peacock, and when a male peacock is fully, it's with its aesthetics, its tail out. Those patterns on the tail of the peacock. When we look at that, we all can say that this is beautiful, right? This is intelligence. We need intelligence to appreciate beauty. Without intelligence, we cannot appreciate beauty.
Yeah.
Likewise, I'm asking, we clearly have intelligence and cognition.
Mm-hmm.
Can this cognition come from an unintelligent process? Can non-intelligence give us intelligence?
I think that's one of the great mysteries.
No, it's not a mystery.
Well, exactly.
It's very straightforward.
But the problem is because you exist, your mind exists within a religious structure. You have an answer.
Ignore
to
her.
that
I'm not attracted to her. Ignore her. Yeah.
No, nor am I actually.
Yeah. I don't blame you.
No.
She gets paid for this. I'm sure. You can't do this for free. You cannot do this for free. She must be getting paid some good money because this is so low. This is so unbelievably low behavior. Such low behavior cannot do it voluntarily, right?
If you don't try on this like.
This is your bag. You can hang it here. You can hang it here.
Oh, so good.
Yeah. So my question stands.
I suppose like you're in your worldview. that question has a clear answer. But I think one of the great things about being human is diving into different worldviews, going into Christianity, going into Islam, and pulling out the best ideas and then hanging them like you would hang paintings in a gallery. I think we should have a healthy skepticism. We should admit we don't really know, but we can seek beauty. We can attempt to find truth. We're all on a great journey in the unknown, seeking truth. And it's very good to be here on that journey. So we want, sometimes we're ambushed.
But are you interested? Are you actually interested in what I am asking about? I'm asking about whether our intelligence, which clearly is a reality, right, is a product of non-intelligence. Do you have an answer to that? Yeah. Or do you think it's a higher intelligence that produced our intelligence?
I believe that. Well, I'm not. The issue is I don't really want to go into a conversation about biology because that's not where my background.
It's not a question of biology.
Well, also,
it's a question of simple human reasoning.
Yeah.
We are trying to reason with each other. And an agnostic view is, I suspend judgment. It may be either or.
Yeah.
Right? That's an agnostic. A deist or a theist or a Muslim, let's say. Okay, a Muslim like me. We have very strong reasons to believe in a supreme, intelligent, wise, powerful entity. Because looking at the solar system, for example, alone, it forces us to contemplate a powerful entity that must have created it, because it's so finely tuned and is so rightly placed in its constant for us to be alive, for our lives to exist on this planet. It's like a clock. For example, the sun is 93 million miles away.
Yes.
And it's in the right spot, it's in the right constant for us to have life here. If the sun is moved from its constant, backwards or forwards, we would cease to exist. So it's exactly placed for, and the Quran amazingly alludes to that. The Quran says, Ash-shamsu wal qamaru bi husban. Okay, the sun and the moon have been placed mathematically. Now the sun makes the Quran makes this claim.
Yes.
It's a claim to some sort of truth that sorry. Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but look at this claim now. The sun and the moon have been placed mathematically. Let's check it out. Is that true? Now, an Arabian shepherd in the 7th century who was reading this book or this text, he made this claim. Okay. He could not possibly make this claim at that time. Could not, because he didn't have the calculations. He didn't have any access to Ptolemy or his works. Even if he had access, he couldn't read those works,
yes.
Right? He is making this claim that this book came from God, and it's saying the moon and the sun have been placed mathematically. It's only recently, let's say 200 years ago, astronomers or people like Isaac Newton, okay, Isaac Newton, when he calculated the heavens, when he started looking into
what you mean by placed
mathematically means that implies, what that implies is power and intelligence. Okay, without power and intelligence, you cannot do mathematics. Would you agree?
May I ask you a question?
Would you agree?
Yes.
Yeah.
May I ask you a question? You accept there is a physical world, and then you accept there is a mental world, and humans inhabit both.
Yeah.
We have ideas and we have physical reality, and I believe that God exists purely in the mind, and religion pushes God into physical reality. But may I ask you, where does God lie? Where does he lie? He lies in the mind, but where does he lie externally to us? I mean, I know he's beyond. Yes.
So, sorry, I missed your point.
Sorry. Yes. Yes.
So, do you see the point I'm making?
I suppose
with regards to that they are mathematically placed, the sun and the moon.
Yes.
And that implies power and intelligence. Can we ignore that? Can we ignore the fine tuning in the universe and fine tuning within our own bodies, fine-tuning all around us?
Well, I think the human mind is developed to have social relations, to hunt, to eat. So to try and use the mind to think about these incredible ideas, it's an inadequate tool.
Our
minds
what you're saying is
to really understand whether this is all a sign of intelligence.
No, our minds are not inadequate. Our minds are very adequate in understanding these realities. These realities we are discussing are very well known to human beings.
There's a barrier between reality and our mind. There is a barrier.
So human beings can, through reason, reach certain conclusions, right? So for example, these cameras and these phones, when I put these cameras and phones in front of you and I ask you, are they manufactured or they are a product of a blind process, unplanned blind process, you will naturally respond by saying these are a product of a process. There is intelligence and power behind this stuff. Would you agree? Right? Would you agree?
I would.
Okay, but when it comes to your eye, but when it comes to your eye, it is much more powerful than that camera. Your eye has a more powerful focus capacity than this camera will ever have. My question is now, okay, you are willing to postulate a creator, a planner, and someone powerful behind this camera. But when it comes to your eye,
I know it's been made in a Chinese factory.
Did you see it? Did you see it being made?
Well, it's clearly a human product.
How do you? What do you mean clearly? Have you been to a factory? You've seen the phone being manufactured yourself?
I haven't.
No. What's happening is you're using your human faculties to calculate that. Because there is this talk in the town of these things being manufactured, I believe those people who say that this is manufactured. Number one, wait. Number two, you can see that it's sophisticated.
I didn't go into a forest and see iPhones hanging from trees. They're not picked up from the ground like potatoes. iPhones are a product of an incredibly sophisticated international system of trade and commerce and human cooperation. But
no, I was going to tell them to move away. Can you tell them to move it? Because once she barks for a few minutes, she will walk away. Yeah. She's barking. She's specifically she's standing next to us because she thinks we're not going to stop because of her. Yeah. So
I suppose when you ask about whether the human eye is a product of intelligence, intelligent design, I think you can refer to kind of evolution to really answer these questions. But to the deeper question about where does life actually come from, this is of course a great mystery. And
no, it's not a mystery to us.
To go back to my original point, in your system of belief, you have a certain answer. And I'm saying if we're going to really deep down be intellectually honest with one another, deep down, we don't really know.
We do know.
You can believe in your faith.
But how can you claim that we don't know?
But deep down, you can never be 100%
Okay,
sure.
what can we know? Let's talk about what can we know. What can we know? What can we know? Is this camera fine-tuned to do a specific job?
Yes, I'm sure. Yes.
Yes, and you are now willing to agree that it has a creator, it has a maker. Yes. Yes or no? Wait. We'll go step by step. Yeah. Yeah. Wait. Is the solar system more finely tuned than this or less finely tuned than this?
It's more. I don't know if these concepts can really be applied to the universe.
No, solar system. Forget about the universe. We're not going to the galaxies and the universe. It's the solar system. Well, does it appear to be finely tuned, or it's a product of?
Well, that's an interesting question. I suppose it's from what perspective you look at the universe.
No, is this finely tuned? Camera. The camera.
I mean, do you mean it's finely designed?
Finely tuned, designed to do a specific job.
Yes.
Yes.
I hope so. Yes.
Is the solar system more sophisticated than this, or this is more sophisticated?
The solar system
is more sophisticated. Brilliant. Is it finely tuned to do a specific job?
Not that I'm aware of.
Let's talk about it. The solar system gives us the right amount of heat, the right amount of light, the right amount of radiations. Okay. For life to exist on this planet. If there is no life on any other planet, to our knowledge, to date, We have a lot of technology. We have reached.
May I just focus in on really what I'm getting at here? You come from a position of certainty, and I come from a position of uncertainty.
Right.
And I believe my position is intellectually stronger because I put my hands up.
But
and say,
because you're failing to answer my question.
Know. Wait, can I just finish? I don't really know, and actually I think when you put your mind into when you shackle your mind in the chains of certainty, when you put it into
wait.
structure of
Sorry, forgot your name.
Strabo. You're actually denying yourself. You're denying your imagination.
No.
Ability to wander.
Strabo, I think
you're
being intellectually dishonest now. Wait.
I miss want you.
When you contemplate a maker, a creator for the phone, I'm not accusing you of putting your mind in a box or in a basket, and you're confining your mind to that particular conclusion, because you can see clearly there's a maker and there's a designer to this. Wait. But when I say the same thing for the solar system, you start accusing me of putting my mind in a box. No way. How is that intellectually honest? You make a conclusion about this device, and I'm making the same conclusion about a bigger device or a bigger entity than this, which is far more sophisticated, which needs far more power, a lot more power than wisdom and calculation than this phone or this camera does, and you're telling me that I put my mind in a box.
You know, I agree with you that the solar system, the universe, is infinitely more complex, and it is for that very reason I don't like making large statements about it. It is so complex. The human mind is simply inadequate to really.
Is your human mind adequate to understand that this has a maker and a creator and a designer?
Yes.
Okay, so why is your human mind incompatible, or why is your human mind incapable of making the same deduction or same calculation for the solar system? Why? Because you're refusing to extend the same argument to the solar system. You want to stop
very
this.
Different.
No, it's not.
Firstly, I actually know I could go to the factory. I know that this is a product of human invention.
You've never been to a factory. Wait.
I wasn't at the beginning of the universe. I don't know.
No. Wait. You have never been to a factory, have you?
Not that. I don't even know what phone that is.
Oh, no, don't worry about it. It's a phone. It's visibly a phone,
looks like a good
right?
Camera.
You've never been to a factory?
No, I've never been.
So your knowledge is based upon testimony, right, of other people. Other people have been talking about factories. Wait.
It's not entirely based on testimony.
Yeah.
Because when I go into nature and I look at the trees, I don't see phones growing from them. In fact, 100 years ago, 50 years ago, 20 years ago, I was growing up in a world without these, and when I was younger.
So let's talk about a peacock. A peacock is born of an egg, right? There is an egg. When a female peacock lays an egg, you break it, it's liquid, right? But there is something happening inside that egg. You give it the right amount of heat for the right amount of days, okay? And then a species is born or it emerges from the egg. And when the species grows, there is immense beauty in it. There are colors that you could not possibly get inside the egg and paint those colors onto that species. So there is something happening in nature that we are ignoring. So there is clearly like the design, the pattern on the tail of the peacock.
Yes.
Okay, the beak. Okay, the paint, the color, and it's not like for example, it's not very. The colors are very stable. They are visibly aesthetic. Okay, yeah.
Sorry, may I just? I think the very big difference between our different worldviews is that I'm still on a journey into the unknown.
I agree.
And you've reached the certainty.
I agree.
You are not on that intellectual journey. You have reached certainty, and you are. If I can be very,
you want to take over?
You are sort of. You are down. And
I am.
That's actually the mystery.
Wait. No, don't speak for me.
Oh, yes,
I'll tell you.
okay.
I have many reasons to believe in God. Many, not one. I'm only discussing one with you. I'm only discussing the solar system as one piece of evidence that points to a greater power, a greater intelligence. This is the point I'm making, right? When I look at the phone, I see intelligence and power, right? Likewise, when I look at the solar system, I see a greater power and greater intelligence. Wait. Because it's mathematically tuned. It's finely tuned, right? The sun, if it's taken away from its constant, few miles, okay, we would freeze to death. If it's brought forward, okay, to put it in very simple, crude terms, we would burn to death, right? There would be, I mean, when heat increases few degrees on our planet, we start to have famines, we start to have droughts, and when it rains more than necessary, we start to have flooding. Here, we know that there is some level of stability on planet Earth for us to exist this long, because we've been here for millions of years, right? At least most species have been here for 500 million years, right? Let's say starting from Cambrian explosion, coming to our time, okay? Human beings are the last of species to emerge in the fossil record, to my knowledge. Is that correct? Okay, or one of the last.
I wanted to ask you about certainty.
Yeah.
You said something interesting. Do you believe certainty is intrinsically something bad?
I don't.
Wait.
No, because I'm
Certainty can be a great thing.
Okay.
Certainty can be a great thing.
Okay.
And there's, like, I can be
Stay here,
certain
stay here.
in my love. And just to...
I want you to continue with this conversation.
I
Stay here.
what I'm really saying is that...
Leave this mic on him as well. Don't worry.
It's Strasbourg, isn't it?
Yeah, we have actually, I think we've met...
Strabo.
Yeah.
Strasbourg. We had some very nice conversations a few years ago. You've got a nice beard now.
Thank you, yes.
On the way to becoming Muslim.
Inspired by you. I'm halfway there already, yes.
Yeah.
Very tranquil day. I like Speaker's Corner.
Yeah.
You know, you've got the harmonious sounds of debate coming from
Right, we
different
do.
corners. of
We
the
do.
park.
So going back to your point about certainty, Adnan said he's certain. You objected to that. But if I was to ask you,
Come closer,
there's
get the mic so-
there's nothing fundamentally wrong with being certain, is there?
No, not at all. You know,
Stay here.
I think you can be certain you can be certain in love. You can be certain in many things.
Sure.
But I just think to place an entire system of belief on your mind and be totally certain about it, not to wander beyond it. That is a potentially dangerous thing. And in fact, it's not even dangerous. This limits what the possibilities that your mind could go through, the great journey, the great mental journey that we can all embark on. May I just put it to you, if you really wanted to live within one system, then actually going beyond that system and challenging it from different points of view is the best way to strengthen that. And I just don't see that happening an awful lot. I don't know if yes, please, sorry.
No.
That was yes.
I don't disagree with your paradigm. What I would say is some of the details I disagree with.
Yeah.
So for example, I love your idea, you should question your beliefs. You should not inherit something, you should question it. I also agree you shouldn't have false certainty. I would say, however, sometimes certainty, like you rightly pointed out, can close the doors of other things, epistemic doors, which is not good. Other times, certainty can open doors. For example, I'll tell you something interesting. Adnan spoke about the peacock's tail, right? You could say that is designed and be certain about that. And being certain in a designer opens up epistemic doors to the universe that we may not have contemplated. For example, it allows us to understand that there is a function behind nature. There is a purpose. It's not blind randomness. So sometimes certainty, when you should be certain, we're not certain because we're worried about certainty, but that can close certain epistemic doors. Because I believe God is a means by which we can attain a lot more knowledge. So I don't believe nature infers to a designer alone. I believe that God himself is a means by which nature is interpreted. I'll give you an example. Some people think design is something purely that they've inferred from nature. But I believe you have a predisposition to design, and that's why you see design. Do you see my point?
I do. Because in my worldview, I say I don't believe in a heavenly realm. I don't believe in God. I believe in the material, rational universe. But I don't think that makes me spiritually bankrupt. I think I can have I think art and beauty redeem us. They strengthen our souls, improve our mind. And I think through beauty and love, we can have deeply spiritual existence without religion. What do you think?
To your point, I would say you are partially correct, but not sufficiently correct. You're partially correct that beyond materialism, looking at poetry or looking at science and looking at the world is something which gives you a type of spiritual feeling. But I would say you're not sufficiently correct, because if you fundamentally miss out here in Speaker's Corner, if you couldn't see the color green, you would be missing out on a paradigm around us. That's part of reality. God as the anchor of reality, God as the fountain of reality, when that's not part of your cognitive architecture, you are impoverished, right? Do you understand that for us as Muslims, we make God is the ultimate reality, and everything else is a fake reality. The only true reality is the reality of God. Everything else is the creation of God.
Why? So you think in terms of my knowledge, I'm impoverished, but in terms of my spiritual life, I can still have as rich a spiritual life as,
I don't think you can.
A Muslim.
Yeah.
Even if I am you don't believe that.
I don't believe. That's where we would disagree. I'll tell you why.
And may I say that I think yes, please tell me.
Okay, I'll tell you why I would disagree with you. The reason why I would disagree with you is because spirituality without God is like watching a movie in black and white. You're missing the color of life.
I assure you, as someone who does not believe in God, that I do not see reality in black and white.
But you're with it. But you're in a paradigm.
And in fact, I think that you could play. There are plenty of apostates who leave religion, and they are not, spiritually impoverished. And I know this is a bit anecdotal, but I don't think.
Look, everybody will give their own testimony. Everybody will give their own testimony. You will give your testimony. Apostates will. I will. Right. The real question is there a God? Because if there is a God and you reject God, you are going to have impoverished spirituality. Would you agree with that?
No, I don't think so. I think you can be you can be uncertain and have a deeply.
No. I said something different. I said if there is a God, and you reject God, you're missing out on the fountain of reality. You're just dealing with the branches.
Yes, indeed. If there was truly a God and you denied that deity, then you would be intellectually impoverished.
Spiritually too.
Potentially not. Maybe God is so kind that he even gives the people who do not believe in him the opportunity to enjoy his creation.
Let me give you 2 verses from the Quran. The first verse is, in the remembrance of God do hearts find peace. That's the first verse. The second verse is, whoever turns away from God's remembrance, they'll have a depressed life. So there's positive and negative. If you remember God, you'll have inner peace. If you reject God, you stay away from God, you'll have a depressed life. So Islam says the opposite. Islam says if you don't have a link with God, you'll have an impoverished spiritual life.
See, I do believe in a God of a sort.
Okay.
This is radically different to, I believe, what you would say.
Like a Spinozan deistic God?
Perhaps, yes, a God that exists in I think beauty can be deified, I think love can be deified, I think I think there are tangible things that we can see and feel that almost transcend the normal nitty-gritty run of reality, things that make life really shine with glory and brilliance.
So, I'm sure you've heard of Robert Greene.
I think
48 Laws of Power and...
mathematician.
No, 48 Laws of Power and books on human nature. He calls this feeling the sublime.
Yes,
right.
I would agree.
And there's other people who say something similar. And all of them are kind of pointing to something non-material. I believe that's a conduit to true spirituality with God. It's like it's like a halfway station. 2 years ago when we spoke, you didn't have this belief, so you've evolved. 2 years ago, you were a lot more atheistic and hostile.
Perhaps.
Why did you change?
Well, I suppose that there are two, we live in the material world and the world of the mind, the mental, the spiritual world, whatever you want. And I think this is what the human nature fundamentally is, having a foot in both worlds, both realms, the earthly and the mental. And I think that. I'm so sorry. You asked me why my beliefs changed.
Yeah, so I'll remind you what I remember of your beliefs.
May I just finish? Because I suppose that the beauty of I think that the mind, the world around us, it's pregnant with meaning and beauty and divinity.
Purpose and function and
yes, but I don't think you actually need to posit a God. You don't need God as a foundation to have that world.
Okay, so what if I was to say to you, sometimes when you're dealing with No, it's okay. Sometimes when you're cracking a problem and you're trying to open through the front door, it's not opening, you have to go through the window. So let's have another crack at this. Your fundamental point is that you can have spirituality without God.
You can have a richly spiritual.
Yeah, sure. And I'm saying you can't. So we're at loggerheads. However, what if I give you another route, side window?
Yes.
What if I say to you, a third person that watches our conversation, he is, say, someone quite robotic. They are looking at your view and my view as two subjective views. And that person says, the real question is, does God exist or does God not exist? That will be the adjudicator to whether my perspective or your perspective is true.
I suppose on a epistemological level, in terms of knowledge, you're absolutely right. God exists and you are intellectually rich and I am void of knowledge. But on a purely spiritual level, I don't actually think it matters if God exists or he doesn't. Because I think as a religious person you can have a deeply spiritual life or as an atheist, and you could you could say that God has given the ability for us all to enjoy his world, regardless of whether you turn from him or not.
Okay.
That would make him a truly great and forgiving deity.
Would you say that my view and your view is incompatible?
I think in terms of Islam or religion, yeah, I come from a position of uncertainty. And I would only enter Islam to admire it from the inside, as you might admire a piece of music or an art gallery. I think they're beautiful ideas contained within the system, but I don't think I would ever really stay there forever in a state of certainty unless I had really profound proof.
Okay, so what if I was to posit to you, my view and your view are diametrically opposed on spirituality?
Yeah.
I'll give you an example. I gave you the example of remembering God, like the Quran says, if you don't remember God, you'll have a depressed life. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said, the difference between the living and the dead is the difference between the one who remembers God and does not remember God. So from the Islamic perspective, if somebody says they have spirituality, the Islamic perspective is they are a living body. Sorry, they're a dead body. They're not an alive body. A truly alive person is someone that remembers God. So our views are incompatible. So the question is, how do we judge between the two views now? And from your perspective, you will say spirituality can be achieved through XYZ means without a belief in a transcendent God. I'm saying it can't. So the question is, how do we adjudicate? And I think the adjudication is done through the question, is there a God? And if we can answer that question, then we will see who's right or who's wrong.
Yes, we could also, you could become agnostic and I could become Muslim for like a week, we genuinely occupy these different positions, and we see if our spiritual lives change. That could be
I would tell you, I'll put it to you this way. I don't think you can fake belief. That's my view.
Okay, yeah.
You can't pretend like there's a God, and I can't pretend there is no God. Because for me, God is everything. God is everywhere by his knowledge, and God is the ultimate reality, right? So for me to try and live a week imagining there's no God, it's like a impossibility.
Well, see, this is my whole issue with religion. You are limiting your mind, I'm afraid to say, to you are not exploring other possibilities. I think you are deeply. I think your heart is. I think you can have a very deeply spiritual life as a religious person, and I can have a deeply spiritual life as a non-religious person. But you are ultimately saying I can't.
Okay.
But I'm not going to stand here and give you some anecdotal evidence about how I'm, enjoying,
Okay, so okay, can I?
We both can.
Yeah, I want to take you back to something else that you said, which is interesting. You said having a religious view restricts you, right?
Sorry.
Having a religious perspective will restrict you in certain contexts.
I think so.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I also believe any worldview that you hold on to, you will automatically limit yourself from other worldviews.
I agree with that.
So if someone was to say to me, by being a Kantian or virtue ethicist or consequentialist, you limit yourself, and I would say, yeah, of course you would. So I would say mine and your position are identical from that perspective, because you also will have to limit yourself when you hold a perspective.
I think for me it's about scale though. It's about scale. So whereas you are in one system of belief,
So say that again?
for me it's about scale. So whereas you inhabit one system of belief, as someone who's uncertain, I have the possibility to wander into many systems, like a pilgrim exploring different worldviews.
Okay, what if I was to take your example and apply it to say something a bit more concrete, like science? So in science, say we have the phenomena at a subatomic level. So we have a group of physicists who say, we believe in the Copernican school of interpretation. Some say we believe in informational, relational, many worlds, shut up and calculate. There's different schools. What if there was a sixth school which said, I refuse to go down the Copernican or the many worlds. I want to be a quantum pilgrim and float around.
Yeah.
Now, the physicists would say that's fine, but it doesn't mean in of itself, just because you are not subscribing to one school rather than the other, and you just make yourself free enough to float, your position is more coherent than ours. Because sometimes it's better to hold on to a position than it is to always say all possibilities are there, because that position itself could be incoherent.
Yes.
Do you understand the example?
I do. I would say that science is fundamentally concerned with the nature of physical reality, physics,
Right.
physical things. Whereas ultimately, when we have these conversations about religion and philosophy, we're actually wandering in the realm of ideas predominantly. We're not pointing at this to prove our points. We're pointing at one of our other's ideas. We are building a bridge between our two minds and examining thoughts. And in that world of ideas, I think the most intellectually healthy position is to say you're not absolutely certain, and you can definitely inhabit different systems, but I think it's a mistake to say you're absolutely dead set on one. And I would just say, I think certainty, people say they're certain because they're scared of the unknown. And I'm here to say that I'm here to say that although the unknown seems terrifying, it is actually liberating. It frees you, it allows you to wander and explore different realms of thoughts. and it doesn't bankrupt your spirituality.
I understand why you're saying that, but there's one point that you made which I want you to explain a bit more further, because it's not adding up to me. You're saying that by not subscribing to a position, it's the most intellectually healthy thing to do. Can you explain why you think that's the case? Because I think the opposite.
I think you should definitely. I think you should subscribe to positions.
But then automatically, it's what you said. You have to shut yourself off to other things.
Yes, I think yes, you ought to subscribe to positions. But I think you should always have that back door, that back door that you in other words, you can walk out of your mind or your beliefs, and you can go on a journey, explore other systems, and that's where uncertainty comes in. So, although I firmly have, I have lots of beliefs,
Which are certain.
Yeah, I'm almost.
And they restrict other beliefs.
But I don't. What I wouldn't say that I don't. I still have the opportunity to reject them and go and find other things.
Sure. So let's break it down to.
Yes.
I'll give you the crux of my argument, and then we'll break it down part by part. I would say the opposite. I would say by not believing in God with certainty, we are closing the epistemic door to all of reality. So for example, now from my epistemic perspective, design can be explained with a designer. Morality can be explained by a lawgiver. Functionality of the social systems that we have can be explained through God's wisdom. The explanation of the physical aspects of the universe, the fine-tuning of the universe, the origin of consciousness, the origin of life, even us as human beings experiencing and living this world, having this type of existential air which is filled with meaning. All of these things you can only arrive at if you arrive at through certainty. But what I wanted to do to show you the power of certainty is to give you a moral question. Because I think morality is one of the easiest things we can always go back to. Putin's invasion of Russia, of Ukraine. He believes it to be Russia, but anyway, he believes that's ancient Russia. Now, if someone was to hold a moral relativistic position and say, I understand Zelensky's perspective, I understand the perspective of the civilians of Ukraine, I understand Putin's perspective, I'm not really going to say anyone's right or wrong, even though one country is invading another. I'm going to kind of take it along the lines of hundreds of years ago, Ukraine, Kiev, it was ancient Russia, maybe they have a land to the claim, and they refuse to take a moral position on this. Would you say that's an empowering position, or would you say that's an incoherent position?
I think ultimately it is an incoherent position to take, and I think that's a tragedy with the world in which we live. Sometimes you have to dispense with the intellectual luxury of being uncertain, and you have to pick up a Kalashnikov and defend your farm from an oncoming tank, and yes.
So do you see that how that relates to my belief in spirituality?
Yes, and I think that it is interesting. So, sometimes you have to suspense. You have to force yourself to embrace certainty, draw a saber, forehead sweating, leap on a horse and gallop to death or glory. And
some people may say, oh, but you're being certain, but in that particular position, that certainty is better for you than to be uncertain, because you've seen all the moral characters. For example, if I was to ask you, and you're a very reasonable person, what are your thoughts on the conflict between Congo and Rwanda? You would say, I withhold a particular belief on it until I investigate. But once you investigate, you will say X, Y, Z, right? Likewise, when it comes to spirituality, I understand your perspective of saying, well, maybe they're right, maybe the Hindus are right, maybe the Jews are right, maybe the Muslims are right, Sikhs are right, Buddhists are right, Shintos are right, maybe no one's right. But then I don't agree with your position that categorical pilgrim stage is the best stage to be in. I think you should be certain about certain things.
Yes. No, I think you have to have conviction. You have to have certainty. But I don't accept that I'm spiritually bankrupt. I can be certain about that, and I don't have a God. So I when I go into a church and I've been into the Great Mosque in Egypt.
Oh wow!
Yes, stunning. And
Have you ever bowed down to God?
You mean like towards Mecca?
Just God, just bowing down to
Yeah,
God.
yeah. I've prayed.
How does it feel?
It feels very good. Yes, it does feel good.
What if that feeling was a doorway to ecstasy? Because I'll tell you something interesting. A lot of people don't realize most of our decisions when it comes to religion, or it comes to atheism, agnosticism, even moral positions, a lot of them, they come from the gut. There's an intuition, there's some sort of predisposition. I sometimes tell people, just try to pray to God and see what happens. And I'm not telling them to pray to Allah. I'm not telling them to pray to a particular name. I'm just saying the one God. Because Allah is just the Arabic for God, right? And in other languages you have the word for God. Because sometimes people think I'm telling them to become Muslim. It's just like, just try and do that, because I truly believe if you do that, it will transform your life.
You know what?
And you'll be guided to Islam. That's my view, anyway.
I think that's interesting. For me, when I pray, I get a similar feeling when I look at a great work of art or I listen to amazing music. I feel that power, that embracing of my soul, and it's a really strong feeling.
Okay, so just on that point, before you lose that thought, would you agree with me on the minimum that experience disproves materialism?
We don't live in an entirely material world.
There's something beyond this.
We have a mental world up here that isn't physical. So yeah, I think anyone who says we live in a purely material world.
But you know, scientifically, no scientist would agree with that, because they always look at the world from a materialistic perspective.
They try and understand how, for example, we have loads of ideas, and they might try and explain how those ideas come about through neurological pathways, but the actual experience, the raw qualia of these ideas is non-physical.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Good. Would you also agree that monism, which is the current view, the mind is the brain at work, like you said. So whatever is going on in your brain, we can break it down to these neurological firings or these chemical pathways, whatever. Would you agree that this has been detrimental to the world of spirituality?
Certainly.
Yeah.
I think we've mutilated mysticism.
I like that. Yeah.
I think in the West, I think God was killed in the Enlightenment. He was mutilated in the wars. The divine corpse was. I think what came out of the Second First World War were all of these secular moral systems, fascism, communism, the hippies, very very well-meaning bunch. But then you have wokeism. Wokeism is just a part of this broader cycle of trying to replace the morals of God with the morals of man. It's a secular order, and I don't think they're very spiritually rich. I don't think communism, fascism. I don't think any of these systems are deep in the way that some religions are, that some works of art are. So in that sense, I'm far more inclined to embrace religion than I am the secular.
Yeah, I would say 2 years ago when we spoke, and now where you are, I see in 2 years ago, 2 years from now, I think you're going to be on a different trajectory. Because you have an open mind. And look, at the end of the day, my perspective and your perspective, ultimately, we can't change each other's minds. What will change our minds is our own personal experiences. And the way I look at it, the spiritual experience a person has can transform you in a way that no logical argument can. I'll give you an example. I'm sure you've been to many protests, right? Or you've seen them on TV or whatever. Imagine a person stands up on a podium and they say 1 + 1 is 2, and the crowd goes wild. That doesn't happen. The speaker will always go for something subjective and visceral and personal and subjective. He'll speak about God or morality or justice or art or something that is not material. What moves humans is poetry, is art, and ultimately is spirituality, is God. All of these logical arguments that we make, these are made ad hoc afterwards. People just try and justify the beliefs that they have, right? Now that doesn't go to say you can't come up with rational arguments for God. I think you can, but I think a lot of the time people forget that for most of us, we put the cart before the horse. And we shouldn't do that. Yeah.
Right. Because there's the raw experience of God or the divine or whatever, and then there's the arguments, natural theology, and it's very, very interesting.
We need to keep in contact. I think I had your number as well.
Yes.
Oh, there's another friend of yours, Alexi. Yes. How's he doing?
He's very well. He's in Dubai at the moment.
Oh, he must be loving it.
Yeah, he's actually he's going to Georgia though. They've got these amazing monasteries in the mountains.
Okay.
Yeah.
You should bring him back here. We should have a chat.
We should get him back into this. The Temple of Wisdom.
We should. It was really fantastic speaking to you.
Pleasure. Yes. I'm sorry. What's your
Sabur.
name? Sabur. Strabo.
Yes.
Yeah.
You can take my number.
Yeah, that's we should definitely carry this on.
You probably have it. How do I go to...
I like it. We're somehow far more competent when it comes to metaphysics and putting a phone number.
Yeah. It is like that. Let me see. I think I have your number. I do remember speaking to you. There you go. See, look.
There I am.
Newman. Strabo Newman. See, I have you saved.
I'm sorry I didn't reciprocate.
No worries. Let's keep in touch. And bring Alexi back. Oh, yes.
Yeah, that's it.
It's my wife's.
Good, okay.
It's nice. Hope you have a great day.
Like a general with all of these things.
Yes.
Finish it? Yeah, can I stop Oh, thank you. That was a very
good conversation.
Sunday.
It's nice. It's also nice when you see people change their views and learn as well from each other.
Yes. It's my one.
Just give it to me.
What's that red thread you got?
Oh, I was in it was in Cambodia. It's quite sad. I don't know. The Khmer Rouge came to power, killed a load of people, and this guy was just there, like his parents had died. So I felt like I gave him some money. I felt like sometimes.
The Khmer Rouge regime. I actually went to the Rwanda Genocide Memorial and they had a section on Cambodia. Terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible. Absolutely unbelievable.
It was when you're there. It's really fucked up. It was like a self-genocide as well.
It was, and one thing which is really sad about it is you see sometimes pictures of the children next to skulls, and it's a very sickening. He was a communist, I believe, of some sort. Communists have killed a lot of people.
They have.
And they've managed to gain support through speaking about rights. That's how they always begin. But when they get to power, there's not a single communist state in which you didn't have the very things that they criticized. You have nepotism. You have the top people becoming rich through private property, and they're telling everybody else you can't have private property. Everybody has to be equal, so a doctor has to be paid the same as a janitor. But the guys right at the top are
totally immune and they're above the law. It's very. I honestly, if I was a leader of a communist country, I wouldn't know how to wake up every day.
Yo, Mohsin! Mohsin! Oh, he's not listening to me. He's an old friend, I need to catch up with him. You know, there's a biologist I follow by the name James Shapiro. He's from a Jewish background, agnostic. He says something really interesting. So he's around 80 years old, and he was really affected by systems of governance. And he wanted to live the communist dream. So he went to Havana, he toured the university for many years, and he came back to capitalist America, touring Chicago. He said something very interesting. He said, none of these systems matter. What matters is human nature trumps every system. I thought, wow, that makes a lot of sense. Because ultimately, if your system cannot stop greediness, if it cannot, for example, in China, we look at them like a dictatorship. Oh, they're terrible. But the people there, they see
Exactly. I couldn't agree more with that.
yes. I need to find the person to give this to. We'll catch up soon.
Yeah.
Great speaking to you.
See you soon.
Yes.
I told you that about 80% of what that is a thing. We're not recorded. So this was not recorded. It is in front. It's in the book. Don't follow me, please. Don't follow me. Oh, Hashim. Don't follow me, don't. Don't follow me, don't. Hashim. By the way, it's grooming you, sir. Is David grooming you? Is David grooming you? That's what Blackfire said. You have been groomed by David. I know. David is grooming you. No, see another dog there. Come, follow the dog. Come. Let's see a dog. That's what they are doing. That's what they are Hassan. Look. Look, Hassan.
Oh, I just tried it. I wanted to buy selfie, but this is, you don't call this selfie, right? This one? Huh?
Why you gonna be
We have screenshots
Why
of you
your
being an
mother's
admin.
mentally ill?
Like this dog following me. Look at him. He's a power dog. I'm looking at a tower here.
And therefore, a small red and a small
What is this, the better one?
Ask them. That because she's mentally ill, somehow accusations.
What I'm trying to say to or knows people where all they work.
Sorry. Yeah.
If you want, I can dance. That's fine. I said to him, you don't have right to touch him. He doesn't want me to get around.
Oh, that is a reason to push him. That's a reason to push him. Be a man.
Yeah,
hater.
you're a man, touch me again. Touch me. No. I didn't want anything. No, but touch me. Now what? Now what? Make a move. No, brother. Now what?
This guy hated.
And he just blocked me, and he didn't want to get
What happened, Sam? What happened? The hater, I know he's a hater.
and I tried to get round, and he came back again. And he goes, don't push me. When I'm trying
No, come on, don't. No.
You said you are biased.
All the time,
All the
man.
time you are biased.
Come on, man.
All the time you are biased.
No, I'm not going to change. No, he's a hater, man. You are not the honest man. Come on. No, come on. No, you are biased. You are a hater, Rizal.
He didn't say he didn't push, but he said he had a reason why. Everyone has their
No, brother. He's a not sincere guy. He's a dishonest. I know him. I know him. Come on, brother. He's not good.
had another side, but now we're talking both sides.
He's a liar. But you're a liar. He's a liar. Your daddy said
You're a Muslim saying you are. No, you are a liar. There are Muslim liars as well. Saying that this individual... But you admitted you're a liar in front of everyone here. Yes. So anything he says about me is a lie. Yes. It's a kadab. Yes. Yes, you're a liar. You conceded in front of all these cameras that you are a liar. You're a liar. So, why would you lie? I want you to respond to the accusations that you abuse with Muslim women and that you're a liar to If it's not, I don't believe Muslims because very clearly
abuse your mother.
Sir.
Did your dad abuse your mother? Yes or no? Yes, he said yes. He just said yes.
What did he say?
He said my dad abused my mother because he went outside marriage.
So, Hashim, it appears that you have been caught in a certain group chat. Now, in this group chat, Faraj is also in that group chat. And eventually, when the group chat is released, Faraj will be exposed for being a disgusting pervert. I can't wait. So,
you see, they are all jealous of our dawah. So now they come to class. They are not in the kingdom of God. They can't go to the Where are my dogs? Are they coming still? Yes. Hey, doggy.
So, this is what we're going to do. Again,
ladies and gentlemen, now watch the doggy. Hey, doggy, come here. Come, doggy, come. No, you follow us, we don't follow you. Remember, I'm the master, you follow me. Is that it? Is that it? Donkeys. Come, doggy, come. By the way, you know why I call him a dog? Because in Matthew 15, his God calls him Gentile, all the Gentiles according to the Jesus in the Bible, not the Quran, is a dog. He says, do not call the brother children, is a dog. But he also calls them not just dogs but pigs as well. What about the bastard child?
Like I said,
Go to that. Look, he's sitting in the toilet. Is that how dogs sit? Yes, exactly. Good doggy. Sit doggy. Sit doggy. Sit doggy. See how my dog is loyal. He sits. When I say sit doggy, he sits. You know, this is what they have become. Bunch of trolls. They don't like our dawah. They want to stop us. And this is how they behave as trolls. Look, both the doggies sat down. Did you see that, guys? Both of them sat down.
Their mustard, white
That's how loyal
mustard.
my dogs are. My loyal dogs obey the master. Alhamdulillah. Okay, anyway. Let's find someone worthy to talk.
I can't wait. Bottom line.
Look at the doggies, how they sit. Loyal doggies. Do not get up until I say so.
Calling dogs like you.
Yeah, see, this is called reverse psychology. And I said, don't stand up, stand up. Reverse psychology. Reverse psychology. How they stood up. Doggies, come on, doggies. By the way, let's see if they follow. Guys, some doggies come.
These are your bears. The grey is showing. Dog, come. Doggy. Doggy.
That's how brave they are. They stop. This is called reverse psychology. I've trained them to follow me, but then they stop. This is called reverse psychology. I want them to stop.
Tarik ayo kisah tarik.
Turning 35, you come.
I think they're moving. You have to move your camera if you're over there. Left camera is
You know what they have, because you don't know, you are children.
And then when they started to charge, they were hiding some of the and then when he goes